Yes, it's chemistry class where we look at things and we look at sparkly things too, and we ask questions like, what's this? It's chemistry. Welcome to another thrilling episode of Chemistry with Miss Duckworth. Today we're going to explore the idea of modern alchemy. While we know that alchemy technically doesn't exist, I can't take some aluminum foil, for example, and magically turn it into gold or even fool's gold. Alchemy was pretty influential, though, because it really did impact how we view modern chemistry. However, we can use science to our advantage and do a little trick to make it seem like we have converted one element into another. Today, you'll follow me as we turn copper pennies into silver and gold. Well, we know that doesn't technically work. We can't technically do that to copper, turn it into a different element. But we're going to coat the penny in different metals so that it appears to be silver or appears to be gold. And hey, to our eyeballs, that looks like a pretty silver penny or a pretty gold penny. This technique of plating other metals in other metals is actually not new. If you have ever purchased any sterling silver jewelry, you've actually purchased a metal that has been coated in a thin layer of silver. Quick side note before we get started. The pennies that we'll be using in this experiment are specifically pennies either minted in 1984 or prior. So for example, I have this 2014 penny right here. This actually does not have enough copper in it for this reaction. So pennies minted 1984 or prior actually have copper in them. So that's what we're going to use. Here is the rough procedure for today's experiment. First up, we need to actually clean the pennies. These are pretty gross, and we need to clean the surface off so that the chemical reaction can actually take place. Then we will coat our pennies in zinc, giving it that nice silver look. And then we're actually going to turn that coat of zinc into a brass alloy. So that is what's going to give our nice gold color. First up, though, before I can do any of these protocols, I need to make sure that I am abiding by our safety protocols. All right, so I already have a protective layer on top, my lab coat. I also have my safety glasses that I'm not going to wear on the top of my head. I'm going to actually wear them like safety glasses. I know they look super cool. And then for my hair, y'all, I actually just trimmed my hair so I can't pull it all the way back. So instead, I have this headband that I'm just going to use to push my hair back. First up, we need to clean our pennies. So I have all the pennies in this container, and what I'm going to do is fill this 1,000 milliliter beaker, so 1 liter beaker, full of a solution of vinegar and table salt, NaCl, sodium chloride. I'm going to put this solution on a hot plate so that it gets nice and hot. I'm going to add the pennies, and that vinegar salt solution is going to clean off our pennies and turn them nice, bright, and shiny. The materials I'm using are chemical grade sodium chloride. So notice I'm not just using a container of table salt I can buy in the grocery store this time. But I am just using regular old vinegar in this case that I did buy from the grocery store. So y'all, if you ever hear the term acetic acid, it's the same thing as distilled white vinegar, which is an acid. So we're gonna use this acid and this salt to clean our pennies. Here we go. I've added the 100 grams of sodium chloride and the 500 milliliters of vinegar. Smells like salad dressing. Let's get this on our hot plate. My hot plate is plugged in, so let's turn the temperature on. So I'm going to set it to about medium high, so this goes to a scale of 10. So I'm setting it to about 8 here. Y'all, these hot plates are basically just like campfire stoves. They are literally hot plates. So be careful if you use one that you never touch the actual top because it can burn your fingers. Notice, this is actually pretty cool, our salt has actually settled at the bottom. It doesn't want to dissolve in the vinegar and the acid. So we add heat to help it dissolve, and it'll take a couple minutes. And I'm actually also going to add the pennies at this time and just let them sit in this mixture as it warms up. I have carefully added my pennies to the vinegar salt solution and stir it up, and I'm going to wait. I want the solution to be almost boiling, and I'm going to have to stir the pennies every once in a while because there are a lot of pennies, and I want all of the penny surfaces to be exposed to this solution. Notice that I chose a piece of glassware, the beaker, that doesn't get filled all the way to the top. Y'all, you want to choose glassware that is appropriately sized. So if this solution were to start boiling, I know that it physically cannot hop over the edges. I've chosen a piece of glassware that is big enough to contain everything. Before I step away from this solution, and oh, y'all, look, you can already see the table salt dissolving, right? It turned a lot clearer. Oh, so cool. Before I step away from this solution, I want to label it. Y'all, a lot of chemistry stuff looks like clear water or somewhat clear water, so you always want to make sure that you label your stuff. Before I show y'all the pennies that I washed and dried off screen, because I felt like y'all didn't want to see 10 minutes of me drying pennies, I'm going to move this hot plate out of the way. I never want a situation where I am leaning over a hot plate. That is just dangerous. So, there we go. Now to show you our beautiful, clean pennies. Y'all, look at how shiny those are. Oh, so beautiful. Let me pick one up and show it to the camera. So let's pick this one from 1976. Oh, come on. Here we go. So from 1976. Y'all, look at that shine. Look at that shine. I am unable to move my camera rig over to the digital balances, so come with me using my phone camera. This right here is a digital balance. So a balance measures mass, and a digital one gives you the output as digital numbers. You may be familiar with more of the manual type masses, for example, at doctors' offices where they have to move the little weights back and forth. But this is much more convenient because we can just set our object on top and it reads out our mass. However, I want to measure the mass of each individual penny, not all of them together, and definitely not in this heavy glass bowl. So, in order to take a reading of just one object, one penny, first we want to make sure that our balance is zeroed. So this is already zeroed, and yes, that is the technical term we use. So this means to start it out fresh so that we are only measuring our object of interest. Let's measure penny number 1. If our balance is not zeroed, for example, let's say I have my container on top. Well, this includes the mass of the container, and I do not want that. So what I do is press this on/0, and now it considers this point to be our starting point. But notice, if I take that container off, my balance thinks that I'm starting with negative object on top. I don't want this, so I'm going to click a 0 again. And now, let's do it one more time. There we go. We are at a fresh slate. Now, sometimes it might read a little bit of the error on top, which is fine. This is fine to start with. I'll start measuring my pennies now. Boop. On top. So that's 3.04
grams, so notice that it's in grams. And this is my penny from 1965. Let's repeat for the other pennies. All right, so this is a penny from 1975. There we go. Go ahead, take these measurements along with me. And this is 3.09 grams. All right, let's do our final penny. So this is 3.04, and the year on this one is 1959. There we go, this is a 4. So make sure you take these measurements yourself, write them down, and we're gonna go ahead to the next part of our lab.
In this next part, I will be taking this 250 milliliter beaker, and I will be adding zinc metal, actual solid zinc, to the base, to the bottom. And then I will also be adding some liquid to it. This liquid is a solution of zinc chloride in water. I've added solid zinc to the base of the beaker. I'm going to lean forward and show you the inside of the beaker. I feel comfortable doing that because, y'all, at this point, the hot plate is totally chilled. All right, let's look inside. So this is a form of solid zinc called mossy zinc. You can also get zinc in a very powdered granular form. This is big chunks of it. And I've added just enough to coat the base of the beaker. It comes in these big ol' chemical reagent bottles. Next up, I will be adding this pre-prepared solution of 1 molar zinc chloride. Now, I know we haven't gotten to this type of descriptor yet, but 1 molar is just a unit of concentration. So in chemistry terms, this is just saying how concentrated this zinc chloride liquid is. Now, I've already pre-prepared this, and I'm going to measure out 50 milliliters of it and add it to my beaker. Now we see that we have liquid on top and the solid is still down at the bottom. Now I'm going to be very careful to not touch my hot plate because I'm actually going to turn it on, and I'm going to turn it back on to that medium-high setting, about over here, and I'm going to let this heat up. We are now going to let the solution boil. Once it starts to boil, I will add 2 of my 3 pennies to this solution. Why did I give everyone 3 pennies then? Well, we want a comparison point. We want to leave 1 penny unchanged so that we can compare the color of the copper versus that silver versus our gold. Perfect. Our solution is boiling, and now I can add my pennies to the top of that solid layer of metal. There we go. And then do that for another penny. I dropped my penny, 1 second. Woo, that penny rolled, and I had to go chase it. All right, let's put this one up towards the front so y'all can see it a little better. Ooh. At this point, I have a very hot plate and a very hot solution of zinc chloride, zinc metal, and pennies. I'm going to carefully move my hot plate using the base, which is not that hot, not hot at all. I'm going to scooch it over to the side a little. There we go. Next up, I'm going to cool my pennies down by dipping them into a beaker full of
cool water. This is just tap water, and it's gonna make a very loud noise, just to warn y'all. Alrighty, so let's grab penny number 1 here. Let's dip it in. Okay, well that noise wasn't as loud. Depending upon how hot your pennies are, it may make that hissing noise as it cools down. All right, so I'm gonna set this down on the countertop, and I'm gonna be careful not to touch the zinc-coated penny with my hands. It can actually rub off if you rub too hard on the pennies. All right, so now I'm gonna grab that second penny. It'll come here. This one's been problematic for me the whole time. Doesn't wanna come up. Come on, buddy. There we go. There we go. Got it. Gonna cool this down. I heard a little sizzle there. All right. At this point, I'm going to leave this beaker to cool on the countertop. The countertops are specially made to be able to handle heat, and this is special glass that doesn't crack when it cools down quickly like this. I have dried these off. And so this is our 1975 penny. Our balance is zeroed. Let's see what we're at. 3.09 grams. So this is for our 1975 penny. Be sure to write that down. That is 3.09 grams. All right, taking this one off. Okay, we're still zeroed. This is our 1965 penny. 1965. All right, so we're at 3.04 grams. At this point, I'm going to clean up my workstation because I'm next going to work with the Bunsen burner. And the Bunsen burner is fire, so I want to make sure that everything on my bench is where I want it to be, safely spaced apart from the Bunsen burner, and overall just tidied up. In this last part, we will be taking one of our silver pennies and turning it into gold. But as y'all know, we can't actually turn it into gold. So what's happening? Well, I'm gonna take this Bunsen burner, I'm gonna turn it on, and I'm going to heat this zinc-coated penny until it's really, really hot with this Bunsen burner. Now that's going to cause the zinc to react, to chemically react, and form a brass alloy on top of the penny. Now, if you've seen a brass instrument, then you know it looks pretty gold. So we're not really making gold, but to a passerby, looks pretty much like it. My workstation is clean. I know where everything is. And y'all, when I light this Bunsen burner, I know where is a fire extinguisher, where is the gas shutoff valve. So I'm aware of all of the safety components before I even work with the Bunsen burner. Okie dokes. I have my sparker here, and I'm going to turn on the gas and light the Bunsen burner. So I'm going to open up the valve, and y'all probably can't hear it through the microphone, but I can hear the gas actually coming out of the Bunsen burner. So let's light it. There we go. Beautiful. Let me actually zoom the camera in on the flame so that then you can also see the penny reacting. Look at this beautiful flame from our Bunsen burner. All right, so I'm going to carefully take the penny and put it in my tweezers. I do not want my fingers anywhere near this. I also have a beaker full of water. So as soon as I see the penny fully change color to gold, to that brass alloy, I'm going to dip it into the water to immediately cool it down. And now for this one, y'all will hear a hiss, okay? And I might be a little jumpy. That's just because y'all know I'm a little jumpy, okay? So, let's see if I can get y'all to be able to see this too. Ooh, ooh, you see it? You see it? You see it? Oh, so beautiful, so beautiful. Okay, okay, ready? Are you ready? There we go. All right. Nice. So before I show this up close to y'all, I'm going to turn off my Bunsen burner. I do not want this open flame just going. All right, I apologize for my shaky hand here. I'm just holding my camcorder. But I had us do 3 separate pennies, 3 separate trials for a reason. And y'all, that's this end product. Look at this. Isn't this so cool? Copper, natural copper here. Oops, sorry. Natural copper coated in zinc to look like silver. And then we have this beautiful brass alloy. Y'all, isn't this so cool? Like, if you were in ancient times and someone tried to sell you, like, ooh, look at this gold penny, I would be pretty darn convinced. Yeah, isn't this cool? Isn't this cool, y'all? This is chemistry in action. All right, I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. It was lovely to have you along for the ride. If you have any questions at all, let me know.